So what sort of government would a space-based society have? Let's brainstorm about it on this episode of the StoryPod podcast. Come on in, bestie. Welcome to StoryPod, where we do the doing of story development together. Brought to you by Creative BFF. Hello there, friend. I am, as always, chuffed to see you, as they say across the pond. Would that be how they say it? Anyway, my name is Ashley. I am your hostess with the mostest, okay, in this StoryPod podcast brought to you by Creative BFF, and that's me. Before I get started, if you have any questions that I can either answer here on the podcast or that I can help you with one-on-one, you can feel free to please reach out to me because I love answering questions and helping with stories at my website. I forgot it for a second, creativebff.com, or you can send me an email at ash@creativebff.com, or, which I think might be my preferred method of contact, you can send me a message on my Instagram, which is your_creativebff. I was about to say .com. Excuse me, something's in my eye, of course, right when I start recording. But I think that shooting me a little DM on Instagram might be the quickest way to get me if you have any questions, and all that should be linked below. Now, today we are doing another little after work special. Okay, so I have notes to answer this question. And you know what? It's obviously, as you read, another Reddit question special, which we love here, or at least I do. And the way that I like to use these Reddit questions is to keep the brain lubricated, keep it firing, keep it elastic, okay, with these story ideas. And I feel like the more that we practice just kind of answering story questions, doing quick things like that, it's like doing reps in the gym, right? We can get our muscles together, our storytelling muscles together, which is what we do on this podcast. So I don't know that I've ever really specifically made it a point to ask you to do what I'm going to ask you to do, which, don't worry, is not the normal YouTuber stuff. But I would like you to pause the video after I read the question and just think about, you can leave a comment with your answer. I would love to read it, but just think about how you would answer the question for this person. Even if your story and the way you like to write has nothing to do with science fiction or anything like that, and you're not worried about governments and things, I think it's good just to keep the brain sharp and strong, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and read the question now. And then after this, listen, let's do a little exercise, go ahead and give it a little pause, think about it. It doesn't have to be a super long answer. I don't think mine is going to be super long, but let's just do a couple of reps in the storytelling gym, as it were. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question now. So it is on the r/sci-fi writing subreddit by Shinkun 1997, Space-Based Society Government Discussion. I'm an indie author nearing the completion of my second work, and I'm thinking about adding a society in my book's world that doesn't live on planets, but instead live primarily on ships, space stations, and low-gravity bodies like moons with no atmospheres or asteroids, and even planets with surface gravity so low that it may as well be a moon. They are much more capable of living and working in space than those born on planets with a combination of inertial dampeners, thrust and centrifuge gravity. I got the idea after reading the novel House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds, where the main characters are these clones called Shatterlings that travel the galaxy and basically live on their spacecraft for much of that duration. The way worlds operate in my setting is that there is no such thing as individual countries. A government's jurisdiction and laws extend across the whole of their respective planet and all its orbiting moons. This includes all its oceans, continents, islands, and seas. There are no interstellar empires or governments, as each world's sovereignty extends only to whatever orbits it. For consistency's sake, what kind of government do you think a space-based society would use? Most worlds use monarchical. I think they spelled it monarchical. It would probably be monarchical. I think it's monarchical systems or republics. But would these even work in an environment constantly surrounded by darkness? All right, so go ahead and pause this video or audio now and think about it. Give yourself 2 or 3 minutes to think about what type of society. I have one in mind already, 1 or 2. So go ahead and pause it now. All right, now that you haven't paused it, or now that you're back from having paused it and thought about your own answer, hopefully, do the exercise. Let's do it, best friends. So my first initial thought was that it could be a nomadic society. Tribal, you can't see my notes, but a nomadic tribal society. And the reason that came immediately to mind is because of Mass Effect and Tali. Listen, my brain is a little bit fried. It's after work. Please forgive me. Her people were they were basically nomadic. I won't go into the whole story about it, but it definitely was a very nomadic tribal sort of government system with heads of admirals of individual fleets and things like that. I may not be remembering every detail correctly. If you know Mass Effect, it's a great series, one of my favorites, along with Dragon Age. So you could do that sort of thing. Forgive me, I'm going to be looking at my notes. They could, because they're nomadic in space, and I know that the asker of the question mentioned space stations and moons and asteroids they could live on. I think it could be very interesting for them to maybe tow. If they have the necessary technology, it could be really kind of dope, kind of tight for them to tow these celestial bodies like asteroids or even small moons, somehow break it from the orbit of the planet, probably uninhabited, that it's on, if they want to take that moon and just kind of be this massive, caravan of ships and even maybe a space station. Well, a space station kind of stays in place, right? Satellites, an asteroid or two, that kind of would be sick, bro, I think. But they can also have treaties and diplomatic relationships with various other planets and other space stations, especially if they're nomadic, moving around, which allow them to dock for a period of time at said planet or moon, rest on the planet's moon for a period of time, refuel, get, necessities, trade, do things like that before they move on to the next planet or continue traveling. I don't know if they would have a necessarily a goal or a place that they're trying to get to, or if they're just kind of nomadic tribes might move to different parts of their land based on seasons and things like that. Do some do that? I think so, right? Or following their particular herds, or where there is plants and water and things like that. Please forgive me if I'm totally butchering the structure of a nomadic society. Please forgive me. But that could be something interesting, where they just kind of cycle around and go to different planets and kind of just float around and do that kind of thing. If they don't have a particular location or goal in mind for where they're going, they could, if you wanted to. I don't see why it couldn't be a monarchical government system where it would have a one main figurehead ruler, or doesn't have to be a figurehead, but one main ruler, maybe a parliament of some sort or anything like that. I don't know. I can't imagine why darkness would kind of preclude, am I using that word correctly, this type of government where there is a king or something like that, or if it's a republic, like a president or something like that. I don't see why just being in space would keep them from having that. And it could even be that, for example, if it is this kind of floating caravan society where they are towing, asteroids and moons and things like that within their orbit, it could very well be that ships, citizens, quote unquote, once they are linked into the system, so the gravity, the gravitational field and communication field and whatever other boundaries they set up around themselves, once a ship or whatever have you, whether they're a citizen ship or, a non-citizen or whatever, once they link into that system, it could be that those people then become subject to the laws and the rules of that particular society that they're linked into. And it could be a very, I'm picturing things now aesthetically that I feel like could be very, very cool. This could be a very cool society. And if this person doesn't do it, I might want to do it. So Shin-kun, you better write this. All right. Cause I kind of low-key, high-key want to have this kind of society because I think it's very, very cool. So I think that is, so I guess I did want to say this. My last little note is, in order to kind of choose what type of, and I'm sure there are other ones, those are just going to be the two that I'm going to say. If you think of a different style of government, please definitely leave it in the comments. I would love to see kind of what you come up with. But I would say, thinking about the history, a little bit of the backstory of this society, what caused them to take to space and be a space society as opposed to being bound to a planet, that could also inform the type of government that they choose. Like, if they were pilgrims seeking, kind of like the Pilgrims leaving England. Bro, elementary school history, wow, is almost gone. Seeking a better life elsewhere and kind of making up their own rules. Or they could carry the government and the laws and the structure from the planet that they came from into space. So I don't see why... What was the sentence I was about to say? I don't see why that wouldn't be possible. That's not really what I wanted to say. So I'm going to reverse that sentence and I'm going to say, thinking about the backstory of the society, where they're coming from, how they ended up in space, can probably also inform the style of government that you choose or the style of leadership. Because it could also be that we are a society that does not want formal government. We want to operate as a commune, a collective, and that has its pros and cons anyway. If they were a group of scientists that kind of defected, or if it's a corporate colony or whatever the case may be. So I think thinking about those kind of things, what is the structure, what is the nature of the society that they came out of, why are they in space as opposed to on a planet, I think could help inform the style of leadership and governance that you choose for this society. But I think it's very cool. I hope that you do it. Sounds like a cool idea. But that is going to be it for me for right now for this video. Okay, another little quick one. I think that I end up talking how long? Okay, less than 20 minutes. Come on, girl. Let's go. 15 minutes, a little quick, a little snack. As I said last time, a little bite, a little nibble, getting the brain going. But listen, Linda. Enjoy your weekend, okay? Go for a walk, drink your water, Get your protein, okay? Maybe lift up something heavy and put it down a few times, girl. Get these muscles going. Get your physical muscles as well as your story muscles going. I'm getting too random right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and say goodbye. Love you. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, and I shall see you next Friday, girl.